What do you regret finding out? My father never wanted me, or children at all, and actually told my mother that if she had me, he'd spend his life making both of us miserable. She was convinced that once he saw me, he'd change his mind. She was very, very wrong. I always blamed my best friend's erratic behavior on mental health issues until one day I found her passed out on my toilet and realized that her behavior always got erratic after bathroom visits. Unfortunately, she may have mental health issues, but an addiction to certain drugs was the reason for most of her behavior. When I was around 10 years old, I was sitting on the couch and my older sister came towards me with a knife and stabbed a hole in the cushion about a foot from my leg. She pulled the knife out and immediately told me not to tell Dad. I was young and naive, and my sister had kind of twisted sense of humor, so I really didn't know what to think. It definitely did some damage now that I look back on it. Years later my sister announced that she had planned to attack me with the knife but chickened out at the last moment. At this point I had all but moved on from the incident, but this brought it all back and then some. My ex said not to worry about a guy when we were together and she ended up marrying him after 5 years. My dad mentioning how tight my mother is. Thanks, Dad. Finding out my ex had slept with my uncle and 3 of my friends. The real reason why half of my dad's side of the family doesn't speak to us. We, my twin and I, were always told it was that they just weren't that close and also had some mental health issues, but we learned after my dad died the truth because no one on his side of the family came to the funeral. They opted to have their own. Turns out that my parents had trouble conceiving. This I knew. I also know me and my twin are IVF babies and we were born very premature. I'm talking 1-pound baby premature. Shortly after, my mom developed breast cancer. What I didn't know was that during this time my dad was also taking care of his sick mother, my paternal grandmother, as well as looking after his sick wife and 2 newborn premises. He ended up asking his brother to help look after their mother since he'd been the one doing it so he could care for his family more. Well, soon after my dad spent more time with us versus his mom, she took a turn for the worse and died. And my father's brother blamed him for abandoning the family and blamed my twin and I for the death of our grandmother. Because if we weren't born my mother wouldn't have gotten estrogen-positive breast cancer, and also, they were all very Catholic and IVF was a sin. I never met my grandmother. I'm named for her. But apparently an entire side of the family thinks it's mine and my sister's fault she's dead. Edit. Okay, I know this is a real cliché thing to do, say, but I did not expect so many replies and support and discussion about Warzone, and also I've never gotten a platinum before, so thank you. Learning from my sister that my father told her that my mom's mom was not paralyzed from the waist down because she fell off a fence, it is that she was beaten so badly by the man she was seeing at the time. What my sister and her boyfriend were doing in the bubble bath. When I was about 14, my mom took me to a tattoo shop to get her nipples pierced. While the procedure was happening, she turned to me and said, "Your dad bites harder than that." I could have lived without that info. I didn't meet my dad until I was 15. It was in secret since my mother wanted nothing to do with him. Within the first 3 sentences exchanged, he felt the need to tell me that I was conceived on a beach in July during the last time they had sex. I was the product of going away fuck in a relationship doomed before my conception. He followed it up with, "We were good at 2 things, me and your mom. Fighting and fucking." Unfortunately, we were fighting more than we were fucking, so it stopped being worth it 10 years later, and this is still how I get my family history. That I was the asshole in my relationships. Turns out I've become the person I was afraid of becoming my entire life, my dad. A jealous dude with anger management issues who never sees his own faults. To be fair though, I've come a long way since my best friend straight up told me what I've become and that if I stayed that way, she was going to stop being friends with me. I guess I don't regret finding out because it helped me get my shit together. However, the fact that you were the asshole and you were the reason some of your friends cut ties with you is a pretty hard pill to swallow. Especially knowing that you'll never get to make it up to some of them because it's been years. Why should they care at this point? How horrible the procedure for taking out your wisdom teeth is. I have to take them all out, so 2 weeks ago I went to the dentist in Europe. Here they don't use laughing gas but just a local anesthesia. I thought that they would take a scalpel and cut away till my tooth came out and then sew it up. Little did I know that they used almost a screwdriver to bend it out and afterwards a plier to bend it out even further. The dentist just leaned in my mouth with what seemed the strength of a million suns and cracked out my tooth while I was lying on the bench sweating profusely out of fear. I still have to take out 2 more on my left side. Looking on my ex-GF's phone when we were on a trip to Ithaca, NY. I would take any physical pain I've had so far over that I felt when I saw the things on there. Totally gut-wrenching. I wanted to marry her. Edit, I tried to forgive her and worked very hard to do so. At the end of the year I was ready to start our new life and put it all behind. Got a job in Colorado, we had talked about going there and it was my dream since childhood. The day after I signed a lease for a nice apartment, she ghosted me. I tried hopelessly to reach her, calling dozens of times a day. She dumped me over an Instagram message after about a month of this. After trying so hard for her and finally feeling better, she ended it that way and left me completely alone 1,700 miles from anyone I knew. Thought pretty hard about offing myself a few times. After we broke up, I found out my ex had been online looking for a sugar daddy only 3 months into our 12-month relationship. I thought the whole time she was genuine. Turns out most of the time she was lying to my face. She broke up with me and started fucking her sugar daddy she had found 2 months before she dumped me. That there is nothing medical science can do for me and the only way I'll be able to have penetrative sex is if we use a numbing gel. I always wonder if my fiancé really is happy. Also, that the American medical system milked me for 10 years, sending me to doctor after doctor starting from the very young and broke age of 16. I lost thousands of dollars to learn no information, moved to the UK, and got actual help for free. While my condition of primary provoked vulvodynia is an extreme case of specifically internal pain, others have external pain where it hurts when they do something as simple as sitting. So, I try to consider myself lucky. Found out freshman year of college that my dad was not my biological father and my mom had an affair with a coworker. Later learned I had 3 stepbrothers and my biological father died of lung cancer. Learned I was a bastard with a family history of lung cancer. When I was 6 or 7, my mom missed my birthday. I remember crying and my grandma and uncle just kept saying, "She's coming, don't worry." She came. Very late at night. They woke me up to tell me she was there and I was so excited but also wondering what kept her. She got me a doll house and told me she was out all day searching for the perfect, most best birthday gift for me, and I believed her. I found out later that she stole the doll house, and had forgotten about my birthday, because she had been laid up in a hotel room, smoking crack all day. She totally forgot about me. My mom has been cheating on my father for at least the last 20 years. I'm 21. Also she's been leading 10+ different lives on Facebook. How she's a working single mom making it big. She used one of the neighbor kids my sister babysat for one of them, passed poor baby off as hers, sick bitch. Never had a job, been a stay-at-home wife, mother for a little over 25 years. My father has a good, really good, 6-figure good job after working for peanuts for most of my life and he gave my mother everything she ever wanted, 3 weddings, 2 trips to Vegas, 4 mommy-daddy vacations without their 5 kids, a country clubhouse, expensive cars, everything, and it still wasn't enough. She tried to pin her other lives and infidelity on my brother dying 2 years ago, but this was going on way before his accident. I tried to stay out of it for my own sake, but the real kicker was finding out she wanted to abort my little sister and my youngest brother because she didn't think they were my dad's. I could handle the cheating and the stealing, but the fact that she would blatantly say that she didn't want 2 of her children after almost 2 years of saying how she would die for us and playing the grieving mother, it's just sick. I wish I'd never heard that part. Maybe I could have rebuilt a relationship with her or forgave her. Not now.